Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you, Justin and Chance, for inviting me to join you and for your outstanding leadership of the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce. It's a great privilege to be here with so many champions of inclusion and diversity, particularly our nation's business leaders, executives, and entrepreneurs who share our values. How wonderful to share the stage with all of tonight's honorees: Beth Brooke Marciniak, EY, Heels and Hard Hats, Bank of America, Todd Rice, American Airlines, Miami-Dade Gay and Lesbian Chamber, the trans community. I understand that this is Trans Week, National Trans Week. America's business community is critical to the fight for full equality, and you have demonstrated that you are willing to be entrepreneurial when it comes to taking risks of leaving cities and making your voices heard. Thank you for all the work you do to elevate. Your leadership to lift up opportunities for all and raise the profile of LGBTQ businesses is vital to driving forward progress for our nation. You know that. It's a special blessing to join all of you to be with the very special advocates and heroes, Dennis and Judy Shepard. "20 years since we lost dear Matthew, we feel especially close to his memory as he is interred in honor at the National Cathedral here in Washington, D.C. That happened right around the same time as we were observing the anniversary of President Obama signing the fully inclusive hate crimes legislation. When Judy and Dennis lost their son, they turned their grief into action, showing extraordinary bravery and grace in the face of unimaginable pain and unthinkable tragedy. Their courageous leadership in the fight for equal rights and equal justice has advanced extraordinary progress for all. I just want to tell you about how it was to work with them to pass the fully inclusive hate crimes legislation. We were moving along with it, and then some not so friendly from the business community were intervening in the progress that we were making. And they came to me and they said, we could pass this in a minute if you would take out transgender. I said, no, we wouldn't even pass it in 100 million years if we take out transgender. We're never going to do that. Never going to do that. But what was really powerful for us was, of course, Barney Frank telling his personal story. But when Judy Shepard came and spoke to our caucus, and she brought with her the sheriff from Laramie County, the two of them told the story that broke everyone's heart but got everyone's vote, especially Judy's courage, just the sheer courage. And of course, Dennis has been so courageous as well. They not only courage, but compassion and perseverance in pursuit of America's highest ideals. We owe them a great debt of gratitude. Thank you. They are an inspiration to the nation, and let us applaud them again and honor them this evening. Thank you. As Dennis and Judy know, our fight is about pride. Sometimes people say to me, oh, it's easy for you to be for all these things because you're from San Francisco and people there are so tolerant. I said, tolerant? That's a condescending word to me. Don't use that word. This is not about being tolerant. This is about respect. This is about taking pride. Taking pride. This is about the right of every American to live with dignity and equality, no matter who you are, no matter whom you love. Last week, our nation made great progress in advancing that right. The American people elected a Democratic majority. that is determined, dynamic, and historically diverse. We are proud that so many new LGBTQ members who represent every corner of our country, from California to New England to the heartland. These new LGBTQ members look like America. They're mothers, business owners, people of color, and members of the Native nations. It's great pride to tell you that 60% of our caucus is women, people of color, and LGBTQ, 60%. So that gives us a great opportunity and therefore a great responsibility to advance the promise for liberty and justice for all. Before I leave that thought, though, and the election, I wanted to just acknowledge the great work of Mark Tucano, who heads up our task force in electing so many people to Congress. Mark Tucano. But we are reminded we must dismantle brick by brick the discrimination undermining our democracy. Passing Representative Cicilline's Equality Act will be a top priority for the Democratic majority. The Equality Act. We must finally give sexual orientation and gender identity the full civil rights protections they deserve. Now, this was not an easy thing. David worked very hard on this because it means amending the Civil Rights Act, which is a very precious document, and you don't want to open it for fear of what others might do. However, as I say, the Civil Rights Act is a sacred pillar of freedom in our country and is not amended lightly. That's why we were proud that Congressman John Lewis stood with us at the bill's introduction, so we could move together to put an end to anti-LGBTQ discrimination, not just in the workplace, but every place in our country. So as we prepare to mark the 50th year since the LGBTQ Americans took to the streets outside Stonewall, let us draw strength. Let's hear it for Stonewall, okay? Let us draw strength from the extraordinary progress we have made together in the years since. Passed historic, fully inclusive hate crimes legislation. Thank you to the Shepherds and Barney Frank. Tossed the hateful don't ask, don't tell policy into the dustbin of history. Eliminated the Discriminatory Defense of Marriage Act. Ended the hateful ban on transgender military service. Yet last year, the president attempted to cruelly resurrect that ban by tweet and then by president's memorandum. Together, we will defeat the president's transgender service ban. It's just wrong. The president must not be allowed to make transgender patriots suffer the injustice and dignity of forced to leave the service because of their gender identity. Liberty, justice, and equality are America's guiding values, not bigotry and discrimination. I do want to just add one other thought and gratitude for how we've gotten to the successes we have. I do truly believe, when I came to Congress, I said my first comments on the floor of the House, I've come here to fight HIV and AIDS. And my salute is to the outside groups who made that fight. We were doing our inside maneuvering, but without the outside mobilization, we would not have had that success. But I do believe the education of the American people that the war against HIV and AIDS fought enabled people to understand better the humanity that we all share, and that fully prepared people to be much ready to respect and take pride in the transgender, the LGBTQ community. The road may be long, but our march toward justice and freedom and toward equality will not be denied. We have what to us is inevitable, what to them is inconceivable. We want to shorten the distance between the inevitable and the inconceivable. As we march to a better future, continue to speak your truth and say it with pride As Harvey Milk would say, hope can never be silent. Thank you for your leadership, for your friendship. Congratulations on a wonderful evening. Thank you all very much.